Oh, Mrs. Garcia, how do you balance it all? You're a school counselor and new homeowner, a mother of two, and grad student. You're an Ander. At National University, we see the whole you. That's why we're dedicated to your professional growth through faculty mentorships and career support, so you can focus on what matters most. National University, supporting the whole you. Learn more at nu.edu.
This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is the Wednesday edition, VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross here, downtown Las Vegas. He is our closer, Jensen Lewis, back home in Cleveland, Ohio. How are we doing on this Wednesday morning, my friend?
It has been a nice start to the week, I have to say. A little close to home here. My Columbus Blue Jackets remain alive for the final playoff spot in the East in the NHL. A rousing 3-0 victory over the Flyers yesterday. So the uniqueness of the NHL schedule here, Dave, where the Jackets are off tonight. They're 2 points behind the Canadiens. Montreal can put this to bed. They just have to beat Carolina tonight in regulation. If they do that, nothing can transpire on the final game of the Jacket season tomorrow at home against the Islanders. However, if Montreal does trip up, game 82 means all the marbles are in play. So excited to see that last night. A snoozer in that first game of the NBA play-in tournament. Dear God. But our lean yesterday, as we gave out on the show, the under, it got a little sweaty there, but we got through. Hey, draft, NFL draft, anybody? Week from tomorrow. Let's go, man. Let's go.
It is amazing how quickly in the sporting calendar it sneaks up on you, right? And that's why we've been trying to do our due diligence here. We are going to get to every single team before next Thursday's, or on Thursday, the final day, we will have the final teams that we're going to break down here. So if you've missed any of your teams in our conversations that we've already had, Jensen, this week, VSiN.com. If you're a VSiN Pro subscriber, you can always go back, check out those shows that we began on Monday to break down the draft. And to that end, going to have a great show here again today. John Daigle's going to join us here to talk some Panthers and the like in the NFL draft. Wes Reynolds is going to join us as we do on our Wednesdays with Wes. Got the RBC Heritage getting ready to tee up tomorrow. It's a signature event on the PGA Tour. A little bit odd that they do that the week after Augusta, but everybody's going to be there except for Rory McIlroy. But we will talk to Wes about that, who he's got in pocket, who we should have in pocket as well. And Zach Cohen's going to join us here as we are really revving up now. As you mentioned, the play-in has already begun. The Warriors, I did stay up late last night to watch the greatness of Steph do it again. And now John Morant and the boys. Boy, that was a tough one to lose when you're down 3 and you can't inbound the ball with 5 seconds to go. Maybe a coach, if you had maybe some continuity in the coach. I don't know. I don't want to blame this on the new guy either, but like, you can't inbound the basketball with 5 seconds. You get a 5-second call. That's a bad look when you're trying to win a playoff game or a play-in game.
Not only that, but how about the referees and the refs give, the refs giveth, the refs taketh with Draymond Green. Yeah. A couple of questionable calls there that cost him an opportunity to be in late. But and 2 more big ones tonight. I was saying it to people yesterday. The Magic now going to go to Boston. It doesn't feel like they can win a game. I don't know.
Yeah, something you and I and Joe Strallo kind of kicking around a little bit last night. Like, again, if you stay up for Joe on cashing out, fantastic job there. Like, does it feel like they can gentlemen's sweep? I mean, that's the best you could hope for, I think, for Orlando. I think so. But it does feel like it might be in 4 here. I'm sure Boston might be able to get ready. And I think we're all anticipating maybe that Cleveland and Boston Eastern Conference Finals. I know the Knicks and the Pacers certainly want to have something to say about that. But without further ado, let's get to it. Our number 1, our highlights and headlines.
Help your bottom line with today's highlights and headlines.
Okay, Colorado. Like, we see you. We understand Dion's not going anywhere. He's not jumping ship. He's not going pro. So let's go ahead and hang the banner. And let's do it for his son, Shedeur. We think he's going to be a first-round pick. Could be a very high pick. Maybe as high as 3. He's going to work out with the Giants tomorrow. Who knows? Travis Hunter, Heisman Trophy. Hey, we're going to retire those numbers during Colorado's spring game coming up. So I've heard some people say, Jensen, that maybe this is a good way to get some buzz around CU this year without Shedeur and Travis moving on to the NFL. You know, it took Rashaan Salam, who won the Heisman Trophy, by the way, back in the day, a long time to have his number retired. What do you make of it? Because for a team that won, 10 games in their 2 years that they were there? And you win the Heisman, I get that. But, like, Shedeur, is this just an homage for Deion?
That's the only explanation, Dave, because I think of our great teams in the SEC, for comparative purposes. Tim Tebow, who we believe one of the great college players ever. He's got a statue outside the stadium already down there in the University of Florida. Does not have his jersey retired yet. Won a Heisman, won a couple of national titles. Just in Colorado, I know our great friend of the program, Mike Pritchard.
How's Pritchard not in?
Eric Bieniemy. I was just kind of going through, just getting acquainted. Even like some more recent guy. Well, Cordell Stewart, of course. Yeah. Philip Lindsay, who's a running back, does a great job out there now on the sports scene and the media side, in the Denver area. This has to be one of the weirder outside of Boulder looks of. You guys didn't even win a bowl game, let alone. There's no apples to apples or apples to oranges or apples to cucumber. There's nothing to compare this to. There's no reason why this should be happening.
No, I mean, you got blown out by BYU in the bowl game with the two guys you're going to retire the jerseys of. And I know they played hard, and so the other kids out there. But it's just like, 10 wins is 10 wins in 2 years. Yeah. Like that's what we're honoring? Like, great. Do whatever you want. But how do you not honor the guys that won you a national championship? Like the Mike Pritchards of the world that we're talking about, Alfred Williams of the world. It is amazing to me that some of those guys from yesteryear somehow have been forgotten, but this is the new day and age. And speaking of those two guys, one of them will be there, Travis Hunter. 17 players now that we believe are going to be high draft picks will be in that, infamous green room. This time it's going to be in Green Bay. Because, look, you want to be there. Now, you do that math, you hope all 17 go in the first round. That's not the way this works, though, Jensen. So when you see the list of guys, most notably, we always kind of look to that quarterbacks, like Jackson Dart. And again, these are actionable things if you play into this kind of mentality. Obviously, Cam Ward, we believe, is going to be the number one pick. Ashton Genty, we believe, is going to be a high pick. Travis Hunter, we know he's going to be a high pick. So is Abdul Carter. Those guys are all there. But when you do not see that Shedeur Sanders, speaking of, is not going to be at Green Bay, what do you make of that? Now, again, if you want to go way back, Deion Sanders did not attend, and this was not as big a thing when Deion was coming out. Remember, he was famously at his house, I believe, back there in Tallahassee. And, back then it was such a new thing, the phenomenon of the draft being on TV. Now we're just so accustomed to it. Back then it was kind of new. Is that just maybe a Sanders thing that Deion's like, hey, I didn't do it. You don't have to do it. Or I don't want to subject you to it if you do drop in the draft.
All right, so my experience, and this is dating me a little bit, we had to call in to a conference call way back in the day when yours truly was drafted by the Cleveland Indians. Gosh, kind of a lot's happened since then. Now the draft on MLB Network. In the same way, in the same stead here, I just happened to throw draft day on yesterday. Vontae Mack, no matter what. Vontae Mack didn't go to the draft there in New York City. So of course, I'm in jest here. I think it's great because in our age of technology, Dave, and we kind of saw this through the pandemic, right? It was unique how they set up the ability for those kids to at least still have as close to an experience as you would be live and in living color. I'm completely fine if this is Shedeur's choice, if he doesn't want to have to be around all those people, because it is a lot, man. I mean, I've talked to a lot of guys in different sports who, just here in Cleveland, Joe Thomas was out fishing. All right, when he got drafted, it was hysterical for him recounting the story of, he was like, it just wasn't a big thing for me. I just wanted to go fish. And, hey, you're drafted by the Browns. Okay, great. Now I know where I'm playing. So to each their own. And I think as far as the rest of that list goes, I think we're all trying to kind of figure out, of those guys that'll be there, who are the final two, at least on night one, where you're like looking at each other. What do you think? You, me, you, me? So again, it's a great list though. And what would be fantastic is if the NFL got it right and all 17 of those guys, regardless if you're the first one or last one to go, if all 17 of those guys get taken on the first night.
And I'm looking at that. You have 3 quarterbacks that will be in Green Bay. And the reason why I bring that up specifically is because we mentioned this yesterday. We'll mention it again. Right now at DraftKings, the total number of quarterbacks to be selected in the first round is 2.5. It's juiced heavily to the over at minus 475. Now, Jensen, I don't, depending on bankrolls out there, whatever you want to do, I would never recommend that you're laying $5 to win a dollar. Pretty much here at 475. But I do feel like that number is going to go up. And again, when you have 3 there and one of them is not Shedeur Sanders, I don't know if Jalen Miller is going to be a first-round pick. I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to be a first-round pick. I'm still pretty sure that even though Shedeur is not going to be there, unless he's got some different intel that we don't know about, because, again, Travis Hunter will be there. I would assume that he would be, certainly potentially, still a number. It could be 3rd overall to the Giants, could slip, but I can't imagine he slips that far. I don't like playing, and they're making it, obviously, at 475, a big number you got to lay in order to get on that market. But does that not feel like we're going to get at least 3 when you know at least 3 are going to be there, and one that's not going to be there we expect to be taken in the first round?
Yeah, I think that as I kind of look through and trying to get a lot of the mock drafts and maybe get a sum of averages and where guys are, I look farther down of some of these drafts, and some have, a couple of teams at the top trading back in, some do not. Like one mock has the Browns, as I told you yesterday, trading back in to get Jackson Dart towards the bottom. I just wonder, as we see this evolve, and you and I know it has a life of its own, as you get into kind of where the Niners, the Cowboys, the Dolphins are, then you get into where the Colts and the Falcons and the Cardinals, again, are those teams there that do they need some things? Absolutely. But are they willing to pick up the phone and say, sure, okay, I'll slide back a little bit and be able to accumulate some draft capital? So I think that's the fascinating part of where that draft night dynamic happens, especially on Thursday.
If you don't want to go alone, get up with some friends, maybe make it like a consortium and put it in there and lay the 475. No, I would never advise that, but sometimes we said there's value in a number. There might still be value at minus 475 right now. Let's talk about the Raiders. What are they going to do at 6? That's next here, VSiN By The Books.
Oh, Mrs. Garcia, you're a school counselor and new homeowner and grad student. You're an Ander. National University supports the whole you, so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at nu.edu.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We continue VSiN By The Books on this Wednesday edition. It's going to be a lot of fun to have John Daigle on in hour number 2 to talk NFL draft as we continue breaking down each and every team, their needs, their win totals, see if there's any actionable spots you can get there. And again, we've been talking about it during the break. If you're out here in Vegas, just know that you cannot bet on the NFL draft in Las Vegas. I believe it's close to 48 hours before the draft begins. That window is going to pop up, Jensen. It's a mad rush to the window, and then those bets are coming down, baby. That's just the way they do things out here. I know you can do this in other jurisdictions. Check your localities, because I know people, Jensen, they get mad at us. Hey, well, why aren't the numbers up? I'm like, hey, man, we try to tell you guys. This is the way they do it out here. They've done it every year this way. This is the way it's going to be. You're not going to be able to make those wagers on Wednesday and Thursday of the NFL draft. The Vegas Raiders out here specifically, they're going to be drafting 6th. They've got a new head coach. They've got a new quarterback. They got a lot of needs. We know that as well. Win total sitting here at 6.5. It is juiced to the over at $1.45. You see those needs specifically. Running back Ashton Jeanty. People are tying him to that 6th spot. I don't know if that's going to be in fact. Obviously, could use some help on the outside wide receiver. Certainly covering those receivers at corner, linebackers, and O-line as well. They'd have 1 pick in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 3 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th. With old man Pete Carroll taking over here in the desert. And you can make a case, old man Geno as the quarterback. They're coming over from Seattle. What do you make of where this team is? Because it's going to look different than it's looked the last couple of years under Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, Ashton Jonty obviously makes a lot of sense there as far as the running backs go. For people that don't remember, Raheem Mostert did sign as a free agent over here too. So they do at least have a triumvirate, albeit a lot of injuries in that running back room last year with Sincere McCormick, Zamir White. So that is an area to address. You're right on the receivers too. Devontae Adams obviously gone, so Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker had to kind of take up the mantle there. We know who the number one target is. It's Brock Bowers, and what a scintillating rookie season that he had. He obviously will be priority number one for Geno Smith moving forward if they don't go splash landing here at 6 for a massive wide receiver. Now, is that out there? It could be, depending on where they value it. But I think ultimately you're right. The lean to me would be to go running back. Overall, I think that's kind of where you get a cascading effect. Like, do they go for more value? I was thinking of Jalen Noel, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. There is a couple of mocks here in which Quinn Ewers is a guy that is looked at, and it's hysterical to see some of these, some of these
Quinn
drafts.
Ewers at 6.
No, not at 6, but later in the draft. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you a heart attack. No, but just kind of seeing, and we've talked about this yesterday too. Teams higher up, so many different needs.
Right.
Weighing making the pick versus trading back just a little bit to get some extra capital there. So just seeing also, and to kind of your idea of old man Geno, like they're going to have a succession project in here, and so kind of seeing what they could maximize not only with pick number 6, but remember they come right back in round 2 at 37. And so, we've kind of workshopped a little bit, where are teams at that maybe want to try and get 2 impactful first round picks. Do they trade back up into the bottom of the first round? I think the Raiders definitely in the conversation there, just knowing the capital that they have.
Now, Ashton Genty is minus 5,000 to be the first running back taken. Okay. So, look, Marion Hampton coming out of UNC, there's been a lot of talk about him. He's plus he's 18-1, right? Travion Henderson at 70-1 at Ohio State. I think he's very well liked, but I think Genty just feels like obviously the far and away guy. And I think from what I'm hearing, the scuttlebutt is 6 too high to draft Genty if you're the Raiders in Pete Carroll. Now, I will say, if you go back to Seattle's heyday when Russell Wilson, let's ride, and Pete were joined at the hip, it was really about Marshawn Lynch, right? So they traded for him, if you remember way back in the day, from Buffalo to get him there, and he really changed the complexion of the team. Is there anything that says to Pete, that's the model I want to do? I want to have a do-everything running back like I had in Marshawn Lynch, which led me to a Super Bowl, and I'm not saying that Ashton can be that guy, but it does feel like with the Bears sitting at 10, if you want to dip back in, he might be gone by 10, right? Like, because the Bears are probably thinking the same thing. Man, if the Raiders go wide receiver, I don't know that anybody else is going to go running back. We could be sitting pretty at 10 if the Raiders don't take him at 6.
Yeah, and it's a great way to look at it too, because even if you think in between there, right, the Jets at 7 do need offensive line help, and that's probably where they go. The Panthers at 8, looking to augment the defense a bit. I know some mocks have Jalen Walker from Georgia as a linebacker, edge rusher going there. Obviously, we've heard all the scuttlebutt about the Saints at 9 taking Shedeur, and so that lines you right up with where the Bears are at 10. So a lot of intrigue to see where they go. On the surface here, though, as we know how Pete Carroll likes to do business, you and I always look at the division. All right, look right down, the road, and see where the LA Chargers are. What do they want to do? They want to run. They want to control the line of scrimmage, and now Justin Herbert's going to have some more weapons to be able to use in that offense. And kind of where they go to is incumbent now getting Najee Harris. Obviously, Ladd McConkey was amazing last year, but you kind of got a little telegraph of, hey, Jim Harbaugh wants to do exactly what he tried to do last year: is run the football, control the clock, be able to move the chains, and then take a couple of deep shots. So if I'm Pete Carroll, I think you get in that room. And you really, again, just like I think the Giants will do it 3, even the Browns will do it 2. You wait up until the last minute. Anyone that gets a little desperate, they want to try and jump back in or try and jump up. You wait, but you have kind of that card in hand of, all right, if nothing happens, if no one calls in these 10 minutes, we know who we're going with. So I would want to have at least something in pocket, if you will, Dave, if I'm the Raiders, to know that, all right, we at least know, bottom line, we have a guy we are very convinced about, but we obviously will do our due diligence in case anyone flinches.
You want to talk about a demarcation line in the books. You ready for this, Jensen? For Ashton Jeanty to be drafted in the top 5, you can get plus 550. I don't know that anybody sees that happening. Now, just go one spot. If you think he's going to go 6 through 10, if you think he's in the top 10, you get all 10 picks, obviously. He's minus 750. So plus 550, 1 through 5, minus 750 to be essentially in that 6 through 10 spot. So we're talking about to be drafted in the top 10. That would include the Bears at 10. So it feels like he's not getting past 10, right? So you talk about dipping in. If you're looking at a Jeanty, according to the books, they're telling you he's going to be a top 10 pick. Shedeur, and there have been some reports out here in the desert that maybe Shedeur could be a landing spot at 6. That would be really intriguing because, again, you go, well, you got Geno Smith, and why would you look Shedeur Sanders? Geno can't play forever. We understand that. How about Shedeur splits? In the top 5, plus 285. In the top 10, minus 220. So, and again, for the odds to be the 6th overall pick, look at Jeanty. Like, that's the way to play it. Again, I think the Bears, if you want to lay the 750, he's not getting out of that first round in my eyes because there's 2 teams right there with the Raiders and with the Bears that will more than likely jump at the opportunity to take Jeanty. It's just maybe, is this jumping too high? But to be the 6th overall pick, you do have to lay a little bit at $1.50 that he's going to come out here to the desert.
All right, so your Shedeur idea, if indeed the Raiders pivot, DraftKings has 8.5 is the over/under draft position.
Wow.
For Shedeur. Under 8.5 is plus $2.40. So again, a play on this would be a play on if the Raiders are going to pivot and go that way. Otherwise, we obviously know the Saints at 9. Now, did the Saints get spooked? Do the Saints get spooked and think that, all right, we got to get up a little bit further here? And do they call the Raiders and try and get up to 6? Like, again, just different ways to be able to monetize it potentially and maybe have a couple of cracks at the apple there.
We had Matt Humans on yesterday, and again, check him out, VSiN Primetime as well. Like, Matt loves betting the draft, and that's why I love having those conversations with Matt like we did yesterday. Like, this is the type of stuff as a bettor, I'm the direct opposite. There's so much trepidation for me because I'm looking at this going, man, there's so many different ways that you can see where teams might be looking. And I could see that the Raiders panic and go, man, well, we don't get him at 6. We're not getting him anywhere else unless we trade down. But where can you trade down to? 9? Because the Saints theoretically aren't going to take a running back? Because that window of getting Jeanty, if you don't take him at 6, if you feel like that's overvalued for the draft spot, how do they trade back and still get him? It is fascinating, the dynamics here when you're looking at the Raiders at 6. By the way, check it out. Right now, it's only $59 to become a VSiN Pro subscriber all the way through August 1st. So you go to VSiN.com, check it out each and every day. We're going to have Wes Reynolds on a little bit later on today on the show to talk about the heritage picks that he's got there at the RBC. Greg Peterson's got his Major League Baseball best bets of the day. Yeah, we got that playing game. We got those previews for you as well. Steve Mackin, his analytics report for the NBA. JD, Jonathan Davis, talking puck. He's really all over the NHL as we get ready for the second season. And we got that number 2 Rockets. It's all set against the Warriors. That's 2 versus 7. Those previews are up when you go to VSiN.com. Full access for just $59 when you go to VSiN.com/subscribe.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books right here on VSiN.
We continue the Wednesday edition. Is VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis here, talking a lot of NFL draft throughout this program today. A lot of NBA, obviously getting to that second season. But we always love catching up on what's going on around Major League Baseball. And without further ado, let's get to it. It's time for today's edition of the Daily Diamond. Jensen, Dodgers, you get to feast every once in a while. And no disrespect to the Colorado Rockies, but when they come in town, it feels like that's when they get to eat. Is this the type of matchup that you want to start off the show with today for Daily Diamond that features Shohei?
Yeah, not only that. Okay, so a little Jerry Maguire, speaking of the NFL draft. Show me the money. This was an easy one to start off with. So Shohei Ohtani in 27 career games hitting over 400. That is the highest batting average against any opponent in his career. Right now, plus $1.15 to win the National League MVP. But I think an easy guy to target today for total bases. However you kind of want to play Shohei, he has basically done damage any sort of fashion against Colorado pitching. By the way, we'll kind of do some comparative analysis moving forward, Dave, on a weekly basis. You and I put in a fair amount of futures, both in divisional, playoff markets, player markets. Did have Ellie De La Cruz in pocket at 20-1. As of right now, he has come down to 17-1. So we've had a little closing line value, at least out of the chute here. But Shohei Ohtani, even up to plus $1.75 right now in some places. And so still a fair amount ahead of Fernando Tatis Jr. at 5-1 and Corbin Carroll at 5.5-1 for the National League MVP.
Very quickly with the Dodgers winning yesterday 6-2 over the Rockies. Rockies now fall to 1-10 away from home. They're 3-14 overall. We knew they were going to be bad. But, I mean, Jensen, right now, do they look like the worst team in baseball with all due respect to the Chicago White Sox?
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, right? Because I think there was a little optimism they could turn it around here. Now, all that being said, we saw the Atlanta Braves and kind of what they've done. They're only 5-12. I think we firmly believe that Atlanta will be a no echelon close to the Colorado Rockies by the end of the year. But if you're just looking at the numbers, this is why overreaction season, Dave, is April. We're halfway home to the end of the month.
White Sox have a robust 4 wins, 4-12 right now.
Robust.
It's amazing. What do you got here with Texas and the Anaheim Angels?
All right, so the Texas two-step versus lighten up the halo. The Angels and Rangers, respectively, have had a share of the division lead each day since March 28th. And when the Rangers win last night, they will ascend ahead of the Angels by a half game. But still, the series note here to give you as this plays out throughout the rest of the regular season. Texas took care of business against the Angels last year. 9 of 13 they won against the Halos. Right now, the current odds to be able to win that division, you can see at VSiN.com on the VSiN Watch app. Rangers down to $1.25, and then the Angels up to 17. Actually, I should say they've come down 17-1. Just a little mini would you rather. You still want the Rangers? I've got them to have a top 2 seed in pocket. I did pick the Mariners to win the West at plus 250, but that Rangers first round bye plus 380. Currently, the Rangers 10-7 tied with the Tigers and the Yankees for best record in the American League.
In a quick game of would you rather, I'm going to stick with the 17-1 and buy into the sentiment of Mike Trout and the feel-good story. And plus, because I'm with you, I've got Seattle in pocket as well as my team to win that division. So if it can't be Seattle, give me the long shot here at 17-1 versus the short shot. But Tyler Mahle was fantastic yesterday with those 9 Ks and that shutout win 4-0 for the Rangers over the Halos. Okay, Tigers, I don't think about them. I don't think offense first. I think pitching. But Jensen, do I have to rethink that?
Mike Tirico said it was a grand slam roar for Rory McIlroy. Well, the Tigers offense themselves, they are roaring too. And you're right. Last year, a bit of a struggle for them. They averaged only 4.2 runs per game. They are averaging 5 so far. So almost a full run better. And a lot of that credited to Spencer Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, some of the guys that have really gotten out of the gates quickly. 8 different players, Dave, have hit a home run thus far for Detroit in a handful of weeks. 18 players did it all of last year. So they're nearly halfway to that mark. And we've only played about 3 weeks of the regular season. They're plus 130 to win the American League Central, 8-1 to win the American League. I did take a long shot on them at 13-1 before the year to win the American League pennant. And I think where they're at currently, you mentioned the pitching. It has been in force, not only from the rotation, but the back end of the bullpen has been very solid, but it's been the offensive uptick that really should give a lot of people in the Motor City a lot to be excited about.
I'm on the Royals to win this is again preseason here. I took the Royals to win that division, but I love where your head's at, that if the Tigers say win this division, the better play is 13-1 because of that front end starting pitching, right? When you can throw out Skubal in games 1 And if you're the division winner, right? And theoretically, maybe a game 4 if you want to, and bring him back that quickly. Maybe get him 3 times if you get into a 7-game series. Is that the rationale there that, hey, don't play the short price on the division, play the longer one on the AL pennant at 13-1?
Yeah, just plenty of hedge opportunities, I should say. And it kind of goes back to our overall theme we discussed, Dave, heading into this year. The balance and the parity of the American League. And it has played out thus far. If you just kind of look at the standings, 4 teams with 10 wins. You have 3 teams with 9 wins. You have 4 teams with 8 wins. And so a lot jumbled up here. Just to give you an idea, Detroit, Texas, and New York all tied for the top spot. The difference between the Tigers at number 1 and the Astros at number 9 is just 2 games. So you've got 9 teams within 2 games of each other. So very bunched here out of the gates right now for the American League.
The next topic you have in the Daily Diamond excites me, obviously. And, Mets took it on the chin last night, 6-3 to the Wind Twins. But that notwithstanding, do you think that this Mets team, can hang with the big boys of baseball?
It was all predicated, Dave, on their rotation, right? Were they going to be able to get consistent turns all the way through April and May to allow that offense to kind of get going? Well, the offense is taking care of business.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have Frankie Lindor and Juan Soto and Pete Alonso and Juan Soto out to having great starts. So here are the numbers, okay? Updated odds via DraftKings. Dodgers -$5. They've actually moved to $6 this morning.
Wow.
With the win last night. The Phillies have jumped up now from 11-1 to 10-1. Mets have slid back from 9-1 to 11-1. And then the Padres and the Yankees now tied at 14-1. That's for the best regular season record, those odds via DraftKings. I did throw the Phillies and the Rangers in. Phillies right now got a lot better value on that. Had them at 14-1. They're down to 10-1. The Rangers are at 30-1. And if you look at the team number right now for Texas, they're down to 25-1. So we got some good numbers in pocket. Also took 13-1 on the Padres to win the National League. And again, that same exercise, Dave, with the Tigers is that we felt the National League could be very top heavy. And if the Dodgers did win the West, then San Diego could be that top wild card. So imagine having a 13-1 for the 4 seed that would be locked in against, the Dodgers in that 1 seed. That 4-5 winner plays the 1 seed. Hey, you feel pretty good about having either a Dodger hedge or a Padre ticket in pocket to get to the NLCS.
And again, we talk about it a lot on the network about making the better bet for a similar bet, right? So the Padres right now to win the West is plus 750. But the Padres have the best record in baseball. Would you say that number was 11-1?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you, not saying that just equates that if they win the division, but that means they've beaten the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are -$6. So wouldn't you make the better bet to make would be Padres have the best record?
Absolutely. That would tell you that they've at least gotten close to, if not circumvented, the Dodgers at that point. And again, if you're going to have the best record, you're going to win your division. So a little bit better play on there. Just food for thought, Dave, in that exercise. Dodgers still -$5 to win the West. The Padres to win the West is plus 750. So yes, absolutely, I would go on the best record. And again, you're going to deal with the American League teams as well, and then a couple of the top echelon teams, the Phillies and the Mets here in the National League. But overall, I think the exercise kind of bears out that you'd rather have one of those double-digit best record tickets if you're going to beat the Dodgers. And
look, they're 14-4 right now. Great start for the Father. So I would much rather have that 11-1 in pocket than the 750 to win the division. By the way, ProfitX for baseball, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's offering the best odds at baseball all season long. It's a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40 or more states here in the United States. First of its kind, by the way, in the country. So you're going to be able to make your bets and your picks against other group of fans, not just the sports books. So you can have exchanges that's going to guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. So download ProfitX today. Use the code VSiN, VSiN. Earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. So check it out by using that code VSiN. Okay, Jensen, when we come back, let's talk about the hardwood we know in the West. Golden State, by virtue of their win, they are now in. They're going to be the 7 against Houston. It's going to be the 2. We know Orlando, with their win, they're going to be the 8. They're going to be the 7, and the Celtics will be the 2 there. What about tonight? Miami the Bulls, Dallas, Sacramento. Let's break it down. The play-ins are next here on VSiN By The Books.
Oh, Mrs. Garcia, how do you balance it all? You're a school counselor and new homeowner, a mother of two, and grad student. You're an ander. At National University, we see the whole you. That's why we're dedicated to your professional growth through faculty mentorships and career support, so you can focus on what matters most. National University, supporting the whole you. Learn more at nu.edu.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back. VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis here on a Wednesday. Jensen, get ready for the playing games here on a Wednesday night. A little heartache from last night. Can I go over this with you? Sometimes
Sure.
you gotta workshop these things. And I was talking about this with some people on X that were staying up late watching. Sometimes you put in those fun pizza money wagers. And I did one yesterday at almost 31-1. I had a 6-leg parlay. You ready for this?
God. Oh, here we go. Yes.
I took Jaren Jackson over rebounds. Cha-ching!
Yeah. Boom.
I took Stephen Curry. You heard of that guy? 28.5 points over.
Oh, easy.
Ching!
Easy.
Zach Edey. He made me sweat it. I played him to get a double-double. He got He got point number 10 late. Cha-ching!
late, yep.
We get it there. Total points was 227. Let's play the over. Bam. And let's take the Grizzle plus 6.5. We got them all home. Now, the last leg of the 6-legger, Ja Morant over 26.5 points. And then I'm watching. He's got 15 at the break. Feeling really good. Comes down to the ankle. And he's out. And you know, you cannot, America, get mad at your player for getting hurt. It happens. So he missed all of the rest of the third quarter, about 6 minutes in the third quarter. First couple minutes of the fourth, came back. He scored right away, and you could tell he just was not going to be Ja the rest of the way. And he's not shooting it. And I think he closed at 21, 22 points. I think it was 22. So it come up about 4 points short there to catch that. But, it's the one thing you cannot handicap is going to be injury. And I do think that is a lesson to be learned as well, that when you bet overs, like I did yesterday in the point totals, everything's got to go right. Everything's got to go according to script. And if it does, he's going to get there easily. But you're going to have injuries. Steph's not even 100% out there. So, Jensen, before we get to break down these games, does it give you pause? Or do you say, man, I can't factor in the possibility of an injury, but injuries are the way you can get unders without any sweat?
This is you step on the court, you have a chance to get injured. You step on the mound, one throw, and your career's done. So you know what you're signing up for, eyes wide open. I'll tell you the frustrating part about yesterday, and this is something we talked about in college basketball as we got to the Elite Eight, Final Four, national title game. How would the games be called? Mm-hmm. And I know Draymond Green has been, just an enigma sometimes when it comes to treatment both to him and from him. I think we could side for one brief moment that he might have been in the right. There were some calls against him late last night that one should have been reversed. But hey, it is what it is. And so thinking of our boy Matty Betts, I did tail his big
Draymond Green.
The Draymond Green one. The rebounds, and the other one's the stat corrections too. Oh God, I've never seen it more egregious than in the NBA at some of these places. So that's where I think if you're going for these bigger ticket ones, you almost got to buy down a little bit on some of the individual props. All that being said, let me give you my take, and I think this is intriguing because Tim Murray did a great job on Primetime with Humans. I think they had said that if the Warriors won, they would be almost a $2. Did I see this? Almost a $2 series favorite against the number 2 seed Houston Rockets.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Well,
what am I missing?
Let's see if we can get there. Yeah, because I think right now, if you're looking at that next round, now that the Warriors have won, they're going to be officially the 7. Against the 2 seed in Houston. And there it is. That series price plus $1.65 on Houston. That's the comeback. You got to lay $2 with Golden State.
Wow.
Like, to me, instead of, I would look to that over 5.5. And
sure.
You got to lay $1.70, but still 30 cents shorter than laying the $2. But again, do you see a scenario where Golden State wins this in 5, and that's where that under would come in at plus $1.40? Like, this is going to be a sweat, isn't it?
I don't know. So I was texting with Joe Serralo yesterday, and I think it was a couple of weeks ago. He gave out the Rockets at 27-1 to win the West. I hopped on the Rockets at 25-1 last night to win the West because I have a bonus bet on the Clippers at 35-1 to win it all. And so hear me out when we talked about bracketology and seeing where your futures are diversified through the region, so you can kind of have that automatic berth, if you will. You're getting one at least into the Final Four. So the Rockets being the 2 seed, Clippers obviously going to be in the 3-6 matchup. So let's assume the Clippers are able to upset the Nuggets, all right? And let's say that Houston finds a way, albeit it could be a slugget series if it does go. I think the longer the series goes, perhaps benefiting more of Houston. So now I got 25-1 in Houston up against the Clippers at 35-1 to win it all. I'm at least getting one through to the Western Conference Finals. And so got a lot of ways to hedge at that point. This series is it, though. I am just still in bewilderment, and perhaps we'll have to ask our man, Zach Cohen, why it is the way it is, and if that is the play. If you think that the Warriors take care of business here, you have plus price all the way. So no reason to do the series winner. You might as well just diversify. I don't see a sweep here, Dave.
No,
but you might as well diversify here on a 4-1, or, I think the later it goes, it benefits Houston. But yeah, you're right. I think you'd rather take the plus 475 on Golden State 4-1, and then just kind of see where you are. You're kind of hoping that Golden State goes up 2-0. And then you bet Houston coming back,
sure,
whether it's the games or however you play that out to guarantee profit.
Remember, Golden State had a 20-point lead last night, and then they found themselves trailing late against Memphis and didn't cover the number, obviously. And by the way, that reversal on the Draymond Green, had that happened, it would have been the 6th foul on Zach Edey, who was stuck at 9 points at that point. And I'm going, man, I got to get that double-double home. So, that ended up getting there with Edey getting over 10, but didn't matter because Ja didn't get there anyway. Let's get to tonight's game, because I know that the Cavaliers there in Cleveland are still waiting to see who's going to be. Miami is going to be Chicago, is going to be Atlanta. The winner tonight of Miami and Chicago, 1-point favorite for the Bulls, total sitting at 219. Then they're going to play Atlanta on Friday, and then the winner of that will then play Cleveland. So if you can follow all that, what do you think happens tonight? And I know JVT, we had him on yesterday. He really likes the Bulls in this spot.
I think that's where I lean as well. And then kind of workshopping through, I know the under might be the play. I don't have a strong feel on it. I don't have a strong feel. If you force me to pick, I would pick the Bulls and I would pick the under. But that in and of itself, I think this is a flip a coin game, obviously by the spread anyway. If you are the Cavaliers, you play game 1 on Easter Sunday. I don't think it matters who ends up winning this game and who ends up playing Atlanta. I don't think they care who they play.
I think you're right about that. By the way, the Bulls did sweep this series 3-0 in the regular season. Again, that game in Atlanta will be on Friday. Dallas and the Kings. The Kings are 4.5-point favorites over Dallas. We know about obviously the big Luka trade, and we kind of felt like, boy, Dallas could have been intriguing if Anthony Davis stayed healthy and all those things. And I don't know that we'll ever really know. Kings swept the series 3-0 as well. Winner of this game is going to play in Memphis on Friday against the Grizzlies. Of course, Memphis coming up short last night. What do we make of this spot here? Should this be one-way traffic on Sacramento?
Actually, I think the Mavericks are live here at plus $1.60. I really do. But I feel stronger about the under here. This game definitely feel as though there could be a little slog, if you will, at some points. And so the under 215.5 would be what I would circle here. Do think the Mavs, if you want to take a bit on the spread, that's fine. But I think the better ROI for you is just take that plus 160 on the money line. This thing goes one way or another. This is kind of that first game we saw yesterday with the Magic just blowing out the Hawks, or this is nip and tuck all the way down the stretch.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is when you know that obviously the loser is done, winner's going to move on to Memphis. yes, the fouling could come into play a little bit if it's tight. If it's tight, right? And if it's not tight, you kind of just say, all right, we're down 12. Well, what are we doing here? Let's just wave the white flag, get out of there. That might be the only sweaty part for that under. But I'm with you. I think I'd rather have the points in pocket here, 4.5, if you lean towards the side there rather than laying it with Sacramento. By the way, again, daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, expert analysis, betting systems. It's all there for you when you become a VSiN Pro subscriber. This is our summer special. Jensen, it's not going to last forever. Summer's not going to last forever. So you got to get this deal while the getting's good. VSiN.com/subscribe. $59 covers you all the way through that summer. By August 1st, Jensen, imagine where we are in the sports calendar. We've already gotten through all 4 majors. So you've got all of the majors in the golf season covered for you. We're already obviously through the NFL draft. We're really getting down to the nitty-gritty in Major League Baseball. And oh, by the way, what starts right around August? College football and then the NFL. You need to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Do so today, VSiN.com/subscribe. $59 will get you taken care of. Lots going on in college football, speaking of. Quarterbacks may be on the move, or maybe nobody wants them. We'll explain next in highlights and headlines.
Oh, Mrs. Garcia, you're a school counselor and new homeowner and grad student. You're an Ander. National University supports the whole you, so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at nu.edu.